Have you ever wondered what really happens when you stop talking to a woman? What shifts in the dynamic? What thoughts run through her mind? And most importantly, what does this silence say about you? If you've ever found yourself constantly reaching out, always being the one to initiate, and feeling like you're the one holding everything together, this might be a wake-up call. Imagine this. You're always available, always texting first, always making plans. Yet somehow the connection feels unbalanced. You start to wonder, is this one-sided? Does she even value my presence? But here's the kicker. What if the most powerful move you could make wasn't saying more, but instead saying nothing at all? What if silence could change everything? Today we're diving into a secret weapon you didn't know you had, the art of stepping back. Not to manipulate or play games, but to regain your composure, your power, and your peace of mind. We'll uncover things a woman is likely to do when you stop talking to her. Some of these may surprise you, others might confirm what you've suspected all along. But here's the twist. Through the lens of Stoicism, we'll not only explore her reactions, but also reveal how you can grow stronger, wiser, and more self-assured in the process. Are you ready to take control of your narrative? To flip the script and become the man who commands respect without uttering a single word? Let's dive in. You won't want to miss what's coming up. 1. Initial shock and confusion. When you first pull back, there's a ripple effect. The sudden silence is like a stone dropped into calm waters. It disturbs the surface, causing ripples to spread outward. For her, this change in dynamic can be jarring. Imagine the messages that once flowed freely now replaced by an eerie quiet. The first thing she's likely to experience: shock, confusion, a gnawing sense of why isn't he talking to me? And here's where it gets interesting. That silence forces her into a state of introspection. Humans are creatures of habit, and when a familiar pattern breaks, our minds race to fill the gaps. In this case, she'll start to question. Did she say something wrong? Did her actions push you away? Or is there something deeper she missed? Curiosity and frustration mix in equal parts. Now here's a question for you. How often have you rushed to reassure someone in these moments? To clarify or soften the impact? If you're like most people, the answer is probably too often. But Stoicism teaches us a powerful lesson here. Focus only on what you can control. Her confusion isn't your responsibility. You didn't create it to cause harm, but rather to reclaim your peace and realign with your values. By stepping back, you're not punishing her, you're creating a void, a space where reflection thrives. And while she's busy dissecting every moment, every conversation, you're standing firm, embracing the silence. It's not about ghosting or manipulation, it's about choosing intention over impulse. This silence does something even more profound. It allows her to feel your absence. Sometimes we don't realize what someone brings into our lives until that energy is gone. In those quiet moments, she might begin to see the value of your presence, not because you pointed it out, but because your absence made it undeniable. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt the weight of someone's silence before? How did it make you reflect on your actions or feelings? The truth is, silence speaks volumes when it's used purposefully. It's a statement of self-respect, a declaration that your peace of mind will not be compromised by external chaos. As she processes this, you must remain grounded. The temptation to break the silence can be strong, but remember, your strength lies in your restraint. Each time you resist the urge to reach out, you're reinforcing a critical message. I value myself enough to let go of what I cannot control. And here's the beautiful part. Even if she doesn't immediately understand your silence, you've already won. Why? Because you've shifted the focus from chasing her to centering yourself. You're living by the core tenet of Stoicism, mastering your inner world regardless of external circumstances. So what will she do next? Will her curiosity drive her to reach out, or will she retreat into her own world, grappling with the void you've left behind? Either way, the silence is your ally, giving you the upper hand without ever having to lift a finger. Stay tuned, because what follows this initial confusion is where things get even more revealing. 2. reflection on the relationship. Once the initial shock subsides, something deeper begins to unfold. Reflection. The silence you've created becomes fertile ground for contemplation, and she's now piecing together the puzzle. Why did the dynamic shift? What role did she play? What does your absence truly mean? This phase is both powerful and revealing, not just for her but for you as well. In her mind, she replays past conversations, re-examines your actions, and even questions her own behavior. Was she taking your presence for granted? Did she misinterpret your intentions? So reflection often brings clarity, and in some cases she might start to see things she overlooked before. Perhaps she begins to appreciate the steadiness you brought into her life, the way you were always there without asking for much in return. But let's flip the script for a moment. What about your reflection? Stoicism teaches us that every situation, especially those that challenge us, is an opportunity for growth. This is your time to look inward. Were you truly authentic in your interactions with her? Or did you fall into the trap of seeking her approval, sacrificing your own needs in the process? Think about it. How often do we as men find ourselves bending, overcompensating, or even losing sight of our own values just to maintain a connection? Now is the time to ask yourself, did I stay true to my principles? A Stoic man doesn't chase validation. He doesn't act out of fear of being alone or out of a desperate need to be liked. Instead, he prioritizes his own well-being and lives in accordance with his values. Your decision to pull back wasn't just about her. It was about restoring balance in your life, reclaiming your center, and ensuring that your actions align with your deeper sense of purpose. And here's the beauty of this reflection phase. It's a turning point. For her, it's a chance to realize that relationships thrive on mutual effort and respect. For you, it's an opportunity to build on your self-awareness and recalibrate. The silence isn't a void, it's a canvas where both of you can reassess what truly matters. So let's open this up to you, the viewer. Have you ever had a moment where stepping back gave you new insights about a relationship? How did it change your perspective? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your experience. Your insights could inspire someone else on their journey. And if this idea of purposeful silence and self-reflection resonates with you, give this video a like. Your engagement helps us bring more content like this, empowering men to navigate relationships with wisdom and confidence. Let's keep this conversation going. 3. Testing boundaries. As the silence lingers, a subtle but predictable shift begins. She starts testing boundaries. This phase isn't always calculated or intentional. Sometimes it's a subconscious reaction to the shift in dynamics. She might send a casual text like, "Hey, it's been a while," or post something on social media she knows will catch your eye. These little actions are often designed to gauge where you stand, to see if the control she once had over your attention still holds. It's important to understand, this isn't about malice. It's about curiosity and perhaps even insecurity. Why she's trying to make sense of the change, wondering if she still has influence over you. But here's where many men stumble. They take the bait. They see her message or her strategically placed post and rush to respond, breaking the silence and inadvertently handing back the power. This is the critical moment where Stoicism becomes your compass. A Stoic man knows that his worth and stability are not tied to how others test him. He doesn't react impulsively to external provocations. Instead, he pauses, reflects, and chooses his response, or chooses not to respond at all. This restraint isn't about playing hard to get. It's about maintaining control over your own emotional state. Consider this. When you resist the urge to react, you're sending a clear, unspoken message. You're demonstrating emotional maturity and self-respect. You're showing her, and more importantly, yourself, that your peace of mind isn't up for negotiation. You've chosen to stand firm, to remain centered, no matter what comes your way. Think of it like standing in the eye of a storm. The world around you might swirl with uncertainty, but you remain calm, grounded, and unshaken. This kind of composure is rare and incredibly powerful. It's the essence of a Stoic approach, mastering your reactions and refusing to be controlled by fleeting emotions or external stimuli. Interestingly, when you don't respond to her initial tests, she's likely to notice. She may even escalate her efforts, sending more direct messages or trying harder to grab your attention. But here's the truth. The more you stand firm, the more she begins to see you in a different light. You're not just someone who can be easily swayed by emotional tugs. You're someone who values his peace, his time, and his principles above all else. And here's the thing. Whether she ultimately respects this boundary or continues to test it isn't what defines you. What defines you is your ability to stay true to your values. You're not ignoring her out of spite or trying to manipulate her into chasing you. You're simply choosing to honor yourself, to maintain the emotional independence that Stoicism champions. In the end, these boundary tests are less about her and more about you. They're opportunities to practice emotional resilience, to demonstrate that your sense of self isn't tethered to her actions. Each test you face and navigate with composure only strengthens your character, reinforcing that you're a man of principle and poise. This stage can be challenging, especially if her actions trigger old habits or emotions. But remember, growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from standing firm in the face of uncertainty. And as you do, you'll find that you're not just maintaining boundaries, you're redefining the very foundation of your self-respect. 4. Seeking closure. As the silence stretches on and her attempts to test boundaries yield little or no reaction, she may transition into a phase of seeking closure. This is when the unanswered questions begin to weigh heavily on her. Why did he stop talking? What changed? Did she misstep somewhere along the way? This search for answers can manifest in various ways. A direct message asking, "Is everything okay?" Or even a more emotional inquiry like, "Why did you pull away?" At its core, the desire for closure is a natural human response. We seek to understand and make sense of shifts in our relationships, especially when they feel abrupt or unexpected. For her, closure may feel like a way to regain control over the narrative, to tie up loose ends and find resolution. But here's where the power dynamic shifts again. Do you owe her that closure? According to Stoicism, the answer lies in understanding what truly serves your peace of mind. Closure, in the conventional sense, often involves revisiting past conversations, explaining your silence, or delving into emotional territory that may no longer align with your values. The Stoic approach, however, teaches that peace comes from within, not from external validation or resolution. In other words, closure doesn't have to be a dialogue. It can simply be a personal decision to let go and move forward. Think about it. Engaging in a closure conversation might provide her with temporary clarity, but at what cost to you? Will reopening those lines of communication disrupt the equilibrium you've worked so hard to maintain? Will it pull you back into a dynamic you've already chosen to step away from? Silence in itself can be a form of closure. It's a quiet, resolute statement that says, "I've moved on, and I trust you to find your own understanding." This isn't about being cold or unkind. It's about prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being. You're not obligated to revisit every moment or explain every action, especially if doing so doesn't serve your growth or align with your core values. What's fascinating is that this silent closure often leaves a lasting impression. Without explicit explanation, she's left to reflect on the relationship through her own lens. This can lead to a deeper understanding on her part, perhaps even an appreciation for the connection you once shared. But whether she gains that clarity or not is ultimately beyond your control. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us you have meaning, power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In this context, her quest for closure is an external event, something you cannot and should not attempt to control. What you can control is your response, whether you choose to engage or maintain your silence. By reframing closure as an internal process rather than an external exchange, you free yourself from the emotional weight of unresolved conversations. You're no longer tethered to expectations or need for answers. Instead, you stand firm in your decision, grounded in the knowledge that your peace of mind is your highest priority. And here's the most empowering part. When you choose silence as your closure, you're not just protecting yourself, you're also encouraging her to find her own strength and clarity. You're signaling that true resolution comes not from others, but from within. This is the essence of emotional independence, a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom. Ultimately, seeking closure may be her way of understanding the situation, but your silence speaks to a deeper truth. It reminds both of you that growth and peace are personal journeys, ones that don't always require external validation or explanation. In letting go without a final conversation, you honor your own boundaries and reinforce the quiet power of self-mastery. 5. Emotional responses, managing reactions. When closure remains elusive, the emotional tides begin to shift. Depending on her personality and the depth of your connection, she may express a range of emotions: anger, sadness, frustration, or even relief. Each reaction reveals something about how she processes the dynamic shift and, more importantly, about how deeply your absence has affected her. Imagine this: she sends a message dripping with frustration, questioning your sudden withdrawal. Or perhaps she posts cryptic updates on social media, hinting at her feelings without directly addressing you. In some cases, she may express sadness, opening up about how she misses your presence. Then again, there's the possibility of relief. Maybe she felt the dynamic was strained and your silence aligns with her unspoken thoughts. These emotional reactions can be powerful. They might stir something within you, tempting you to reach out and explain, to comfort, or even to rekindle what you had. But here's the critical question. Are you reacting from a place of strength, or are you letting her emotions dictate your actions? Stoicism offers a clear answer. Emotions, both yours and others, are fleeting. They are like passing storms, intense but temporary. A Stoic man acknowledges emotions without letting them govern his choices. Her anger, sadness, or even relief isn't something you need to fix. These emotions are hers to navigate, not yours to absorb. Let's take anger as an example. She might lash out, accusing you of being distant or unkind. The immediate instinct might be to defend yourself, to clarify your intentions. But does doing so serve your peace, or does it pull you back into a cycle of emotional volatility? Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in restraint. By not reacting impulsively, you demonstrate composure and emotional maturity. Sadness can be even more compelling. When someone expresses vulnerability, it's natural to want to comfort them. However, this is where self-awareness becomes crucial. Ask yourself, is reaching out a genuine response, or is it an attempt to ease your own discomfort with her sadness? Emotional independence means respecting her feelings while maintaining your own boundaries. And then there's relief. If she feels lighter in your absence, it may be a sign that the relationship wasn't aligned in the first place. While this realization can sting, it's also liberating. You freed both of you from a dynamic that wasn't serving either party fully. Now, let's bring this back to you, the viewer. Have you ever found yourself swayed by someone else's emotional response? Did it lead to decisions you later questioned? This is your chance to reflect. Drop a comment below and share your experiences. How did you handle it? What did you learn? And if you're finding value in this discussion, don't forget to like this video. Your engagement helps us continue exploring these important topics, providing insights that empower you to navigate relationships with clarity and confidence. Together, we're building a community of individuals committed to growth and emotional resilience. Let's keep the conversation going. 6. Evaluating your worth. As the silence deepens, she enters a phase of reevaluation. This is where the real weight of your absence begins to settle. Without the steady rhythm of your messages, calls, or presence, she starts to ask herself, who was he to me? What did he bring to my life? This isn't just about missing you, it's about reassessing the value of the connection and the role you played in her world. When you step back, you create a powerful vacuum. In the space where your constant presence once resided, a quiet realization begins to form. As she starts to see the qualities you embodied, perhaps it was your emotional stability, your patience, or the way you handled challenges with grace. She might recall how you were always there, steady and dependable, even when things were uncertain. But here's the twist. While she's evaluating your worth, you must resist the urge to seek validation in her conclusions. Stoicism teaches that your value is intrinsic. It doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's perception. Whether she realizes your worth or not is beyond your control, and it doesn't define you. Think of it this way. Your worth was never about how much attention or affection she gave you. It was never about her texts, her calls, or her acknowledgement. Your worth is rooted in your character, how you live, how you treat others, and how consistently you align with your principles. By stepping back, you're not waiting for her to validate you. You're standing firm in the truth that your value exists regardless of her recognition. What's fascinating is that this reevaluation phase often brings clarity, not just for her but for you as well. While she's reflecting on what she may have lost, you're reminded of what you've gained: emotional independence, clarity, and a deeper connection to your core values. You're no longer tethered to the external markers of worth. Instead, you're grounded in the unwavering belief that you are enough, with or without her validation. This shift in perspective can be transformative. It allows you to navigate future relationships with a new sense of confidence and assurance. You're no longer driven by the need to prove your worth to anyone. Instead, you engage with others from a place of wholeness, knowing that your value isn't something that can be given or taken away. And here's the truth. When you embody this kind of self-assuredness, it's magnetic. People, including her, will be drawn to your quiet confidence. Not because you're seeking their approval, but because they sense the strength and peace that comes from within. Ultimately, this phase of evaluating worth isn't about winning her back or proving a point. It's about embracing the reality that your value has always been yours to claim. Whether she recognizes it or not becomes secondary to the profound peace you've cultivated through self-awareness and inner growth. 7. Reaching out again. After all the reflection, emotional responses, and boundary testing, a pivotal moment often arises. She reaches out. It might come as a simple, casual message, "Hey, how have you been?" Or something more deliberate like, "I've been thinking about you lately." Either way, this is the moment where the dynamic takes another turn. The ball, once firmly in her court, now returns to yours. The question is, how will you respond? This is where many men falter. The initial surge of excitement, the validation of her reaching out, can cloud your judgment. It's tempting to dive right back in, eager to pick up where things left off. But here's where you must pause and ground yourself in the principles of Stoicism. Remember, your goal isn't to react impulsively, but to respond with intention and clarity. First, consider her message. What's driving her to reach out? Is it genuine curiosity, a desire to reconnect, or simply an attempt to regain control over the dynamic? Her motives may not be immediately clear, but your response, or lack thereof, shouldn't hinge on deciphering them. Instead, focus on what aligns with your values and emotional well-being. Imagine you receive a message like, "I miss talking to you." The old version of you might have jumped at the chance to engage, feeling validated by her words. But now, with a Stoic mindset, you can step back and ask yourself, does re-engaging serve my peace and purpose? You have options. You could respond with a brief, polite acknowledgement, keeping the conversation light and measured. Something like, "I hope you're doing well too." This shows you're open to dialogue but aren't desperate to reignite the connection. Alternatively, you might decide not to respond at all, recognizing that some doors are best left closed. What's crucial here is that your response or decision to remain silent comes from a place of strength, not neediness. You're not reacting to her message out of a desire for validation or fear of losing her again. Instead, you're staying true to the emotional independence you've cultivated. It's worth noting that when a woman reaches out after a period of silence, she's likely seeking to gauge your emotional state. Are you still invested? Have you moved on? By maintaining composure and responding or not, on your terms, you reinforce the message that your peace of mind isn't contingent on her actions. This quiet confidence speaks volumes, often more than any words could. There's a profound power in responding without emotional urgency. It shows that you're in control of your narrative, that you've mastered the art of balancing openness with self-respect. Whether the conversation leads to reconciliation or simply provides closure, you've remained true to your principles. And here's the truth. How you handle this moment sets the tone for any future interactions. By responding thoughtfully, you communicate that you're no longer the man who chases, but the one who chooses. Shift in energy often leaves a lasting impression, one that transcends the immediate exchange. Ultimately, when she reaches out, it's not about rekindling what was lost. It's about showing through your actions that you've grown emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Whether the connection deepens or fades away, you've already won by staying aligned with your core values and maintaining your inner peace. 8. Moving forward with strength. As the dust settles, whether she continues to engage or the silence resumes, the final and most transformative phase begins. Moving forward. This stage isn't about her anymore, it's about you. It's about taking everything you've learned from this experience and channeling it into growth, resilience, and a deeper sense of self. When you stop chasing, you shift the focus from external validation to internal stability. This is the essence of Stoicism, learning to thrive in uncertainty and finding peace not in how others perceive you, but in how you perceive yourself. The silence, the reflection, the boundary testing, and even her potential attempts to reconnect. All of these moments are stepping stones toward a stronger, more grounded version of you. But think about where you were at the start of this journey. Perhaps you were consumed by thoughts of her, constantly seeking her attention, and feeling unsettled by the imbalance in your dynamic. Now, having embraced silence and stood firm in your values, you've reclaimed your power. You've demonstrated to yourself that your worth isn't dictated by someone else's actions or feelings. Moving forward doesn't mean you forget the connection or the lessons it brought. It means you carry those lessons with you, allowing them to shape how you approach future relationships. You've learned the value of self-respect, the power of restraint, and the importance of emotional independence. These are not just skills for romantic relationships, they are foundational to every aspect of life. So what's next? It's time to refocus your energy on what truly matters, your goals, your passions, and your personal growth. This is where the real transformation happens. Instead of being caught in the loop of chasing or waiting, you're now free to invest in yourself fully. Whether it's pursuing a new hobby, advancing your career, or deepening your understanding of Stoic philosophy, the possibilities are endless. And here's the best part. The strength and confidence you've built will naturally draw others to you. Not because you're seeking their attention, but because authentic confidence is magnetic. People, including potential partners, are drawn to those who exude self-assurance and live with purpose. But remember, this journey isn't about impressing others, it's about living in alignment with your principles. It's about finding peace in who you are, regardless of who comes into or leaves your life. This is the ultimate lesson of Stoicism. True contentment comes from within, not from the fleeting approval or affection of others. As you move forward, you'll notice a profound shift in your mindset. Situations that once felt overwhelming or disheartening will now seem like opportunities for growth. Challenges will no longer shake your core because you've cultivated the inner strength to face them with composure and clarity. This is the power of embracing silence and reflection. It transforms you from the inside out. In the end, whether she stays, returns, or fades into the background becomes secondary to the person you've become. You've learned that your peace, your growth, and your self-worth are non-negotiable. And that, my friend, is a lesson that will serve you for a lifetime. So as you close this chapter, take a moment to acknowledge how far you've come. You've navigated the uncertainty, faced the silence, and emerged stronger. Now it's time to embrace the future with confidence and purpose, knowing that you are fully in control of your path. As we wrap up this journey, it's essential to reflect on the profound transformation you've experienced. By stepping back, embracing silence, and focusing on your inner growth, you've tapped into a powerful truth. Your peace, your strength, and your worth come from within. The reactions, emotions, and actions of others, while significant, no longer dictate your sense of self. This isn't just about navigating one relationship, It's about redefining how you approach all connections in your life. You've learned the art of letting go without losing yourself, of standing firm in your values, and of choosing self-respect over fleeting validation. Through the lens of Stoicism, you found clarity and purpose in the silence, proving that real power lies in your ability to control your mind, not external circumstances. So what does this mean for you moving forward? It means you're now equipped to handle any relationship dynamic with composure and confidence. Whether someone stays, leaves, or reaches out again, you'll remain steady, knowing that your value doesn't fluctuate based on their actions. This mindset will not only improve your relationships, but will also enhance every aspect of your life, from your career to your personal growth journey. And now I want to hear from you. Have you experienced a moment where pulling back changed the way you saw yourself and others? How did it impact your growth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences could inspire someone else who's navigating a similar path. If this discussion resonated with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you're joining a community of individuals committed to personal growth, self-mastery, and living with purpose. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on more content designed to empower and inspire you. Thank you for being part of this journey. Remember, true strength comes from within, and the path to inner peace begins with the simple, powerful act of choosing yourself. Stay strong, embrace the Stoic way, and until next time, keep growing and thriving.